everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of 10 Questions with a Pro. And I'm excited that my guest for tonight's show is Greg Ranjitsingh. Greg is a professional goalkeeper for Minnesota United in the MLS. Born in Canada, Greg represents Trinidad and Tobago national team. Greg played 4 years of college at Mercer University between 2011 and 2014. During his freshman year, he was named the starting goalkeeper and made the Atlantic Sun Conference All-Freshman team. By the end of his senior year, he had become one of the top college goalkeepers in his nation, ranking 3rd nationally in total saves and 9th in save percentage. Thank you for coming on 10 Questions with a Pro. Greg, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Brady. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. All right, Greg, let's start this interview off with a question I ask all my pros. Why did you become a goalie?
Why did I become a goalie? Honestly, I think I'm still trying to answer that question. I think everyone knows the reputation the keepers have. They're crazy. They jump in front of shots. It's just, pretty much the craziest kid on the squad. And I think when I was younger, probably around 8 years old, when I first started playing with the team, I just was the kid who wanted to jump in goal and, get in front of shots. And, I was athletic when I was younger, so it just worked out for me. So, yeah, coach chose me and threw me in net, and then I just never came out.
I know, my coach pretty much just threw me in net too. I mean, I didn't really decide to be goalkeeper. He just said go and goal. And
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's how it starts for a lot of people. They just get thrown in, and then after choice, and then they just end up finding, the love for it.
Yeah, you end up finding the love for it. I started goalkeeping around 7 years old, and I found the love for it after I first started. Like a month or two, I just got my first gloves, and I just picked it up from there, and I started training hard ever since.
That's amazing. That's exactly how I started it. Exactly. So you're on the right track.
Thanks. What motivates you to keep training hard to maintain being a professional?
I think when I was younger, it was always my goal to be a professional soccer player. I think I was really shy. So I didn't really tell many people that's what I want to do because I was growing up in Canada at the time, and not many guys on my team or not many people I knew were professional soccer players. So I didn't really want to tell people. I was really shy, so it kind of forced me to work not in the shadows, but work, behind closed doors. I just worked really hard at it and want to prove everyone that, I could do it. And, I trained with probably one of the worst teams in Ontario, which is the province that I'm from. We weren't really good, and just eventually kept grinding and finally got to the top. I went to Mercer University, also not really a big university, so I took it was a strange path for me to the pros, So I think it just proves to a lot of people that you don't need to go and play at the biggest school or the best team or anything like that. I think it's all about work ethic, and that's something that I had and really helped me on, and it got me to where I am today.
That's awesome. So you said you weren't on the greatest of teams, and you were in goal at that time. Was it hard for you? Did you have a good defense? Did you get scored on a lot? Did you have a good team, or what was it like when you were on that team?
So growing up, yeah, I didn't play on the greatest team. I remember a lot of games getting scored on a lot, and I think that kind of just going through that and going through those experiences, maybe getting scored a lot, facing a lot of shots, put me under a lot of pressure. It wasn't until I was, in my late teens, I was in high school, and one of my good friends played for a really good academy in Ontario, Canada. And he brought me there, and I just think that all those years of grinding in the lower leagues and the lower teams, and just facing all these shots and going through a lot of adversity, really built the character that I was at that time. And then just going into a better team later on in my teens, it just the coach kind of refined all the little skills that I had, and just kind of helped me progress further in my career. So I think going through the adversity and, going through some tough times really builds your character and helps you, moving forward in all aspects, not just goalkeeping. I think in life in general. So I think it's just a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because when I started off as a goalkeeper, I wasn't on the greatest of teams either, and I was getting shots every 5 seconds. It was back to back, and I normally played scrimmages against the older teams and stuff, and it was just constant shots back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a good way to develop. To be honest, playing on maybe not the greatest team, you see a lot of action, especially at a young age. I think it's great, and playing against older guys, it forces you to develop much more quicker. So I think it's a good thing to have when you're younger.
Yeah, it definitely is. Is training with the national team different than training with Minnesota?
Um, it is different in the sense that everyone kind of comes together from different clubs. So I think the talent is always there. I think there's so many talented players. I think what you build in national team camps is the chemistry because everyone is playing away from each other and they finally come into this camp and it's usually a really short turnaround, maybe a week before your first game. So it's all about building, the camaraderie on the team and building chemistry and, getting to know the guys again. So I think from that aspect, it's a bit different. On our team, we actually have another Trinidad international, Kevin Molino. So it's good to have him on the team, especially when I first came in this year and I was new. It was good to see a familiar face in the locker room. But yeah, I think that's the only difference between club and national level. Just trying to build the chemistry quick because I think in the MLS and national team, there's a lot of guys playing at that level, and the skill level is pretty much the same.
So you said it was different having to have team chemistry and stuff since you guys haven't played together. So is it sort of like starting with a new team and you have to figure out your defenders' names or your attackers' names and telling them where to go? Is that sort of like it how it was?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, with a lot of national teams, you see a lot of familiar faces like camp after camp, so you start building chemistry. But I think for the first couple sessions, the first couple days, like just to get the rhythm of how each other plays, when I first went into national team, like you said, like it's a bunch of new guys, like a new defense, new faces. So I had to learn everyone's name. But after I went to a few camps and became familiar with, the guys who were consistently getting called in, I knew them. I obviously began to build a relationship with them. But when you first get called into those camps and it's the first couple of days, everyone just needs to find the chemistry and build the camaraderie and you get going and find that rhythm.
Yeah, for sure. Is playing style different with the national team than playing for an MLS with playing for the MLS or even a college team? What's the difference?
I think, yeah, it's definitely different. I think with college, obviously, it's a lot younger guys. It's very fast paced because at the time, I'm not sure if the rules are still the same, but I know when I was playing, it was unlimited subs, so it was always fast paced. Once you got tired, you go back, you go out, another guy comes in, and then once you get your stamina back, you jump back into the game. So college very fast paced. I think it's good development for the pro game. Um, National team and MLS. The difference is, I think in MLS there's a lot of international players. I think it just depends on what national team you play for. I think obviously Trinidad, the Caribbean nation, I think it's not the most developed national team there is. So the facilities and the training pitches aren't as good as the MLS. But I think that's also one thing that I'm really grateful for because I'm able to see both sides of it and appreciate when I'm playing for an MLS club, all the facilities and everything that I have access to. Where in Trinidad you don't have those things. So that's another aspect of national team and club, and it varies. There's some national teams like the U.S. national team that has a lot of funding and they have everything. So I think it just varies between different national teams.
That's cool. So you said that you don't have the best facilities, and you said the MLS clubs or the MLS training facilities are better. Why is that? Is it different in Trinidad? What's the difference between the MLS stadiums? Why do you think the quality isn't as great?
Well, I think MLS just has so much funding. They have a lot of owners that care about the team, and they really put a lot into it, and they want to make sure the players have a great experience. Where I think with Trinidad, it's a developing country. There's not much funding with the soccer team. So the facilities aren't there. Sometimes the travel is not there. But the love for football, it stays the same. You know what I mean? So you don't need all the fancy stadiums and all the fancy gears to play football. You just need a goal and a ball, and then you can play. So I think the love for the game always stays the same. Just it's the way it's what you find things to appreciate. If you appreciate the stadiums and the nice facilities and all the gear and all that stuff, that's one thing. But I think at the end of the day, the love for the game and the appreciation for football, like that's most important. And as long as you look at it from that aspect, then you'll have a successful career.
Yep, definitely. What steps did you take to help you become a professional goalkeeper?
I think for me it all came down to this hard work because like I said before, I didn't play for the best teams. I didn't go to, one of the big colleges. I even started off in the USL for many years before making the jump to MLS. So for me, it was a slow grind. It was, trying to prove myself at every level. And I think that, my biggest attribute is my work ethic. I'm always training. I'm staying after practice to take more shots. I'm in the gym building my strength. In my off season, I'm training every single day. I think that's one thing that is the biggest thing I'm grateful for is my work ethic because in my opinion, maybe I wasn't maybe I didn't have the God-given gifts and this special abilities. I had to learn it all and I had to train really hard at it. I wasn't a very good keeper at first. I was letting in a lot of goals, but over the years I was training really hard. And I think work ethic is number one. That's what's going to get you to the top. So I would say that.
Yeah, nobody's good when they start off. Trust me, I was terrible. What sacrifices did you make through your life to be able to become a professional goalkeeper?
Um, Sacrifices. I think one of them was coming to the U.S. To go to college. I think that was a big moment in my life because that was the first time I moved away from home. In Canada, I think soccer is still growing there, so we don't really have the highest level, like especially in college. We don't really have the soccer scholarships. So if you want to play in college and you want to get your soccer scholarship, you had to come to the U.S. So that was a big step, moving away from my family and spending 4 years at a place that was I mean, U.S. Canada may seem far, but it felt foreign to me. It wasn't what I was used to. So I think that was a big sacrifice I had to make. And then obviously going to the pro game, you move on to another city and you start from scratch again. Being a rookie, you make a lot of sacrifices to make it. Especially in the USL, you have to take maybe a low wage and just work your way to the top. And as a goalkeeper, obviously only one plays, and when you first start out, usually it's a more mature position. They like guys with experience, so I had to make the sacrifice where playing every game in college, going to the pros, and sitting on the bench for an entire year. But I used that sacrifice to learn from the number one at the time and gain a lot of experiences. So I think along the way, there's a lot of sacrifices you make as a goalkeeper, but it's just how you endure and learn from those experiences. It's just what's going to get you to the top.
Yep. The sacrifices count the most. You got to be willing to make sacrifices to get to the next level.
Exactly. And if you don't make sacrifices, then you don't end up learning from those. So I think those are the biggest things in development for sure.
Yep. If you weren't a professional goalkeeper, what else would you want to be?
That's a it's a good question. That's something I think about a lot, honestly. Like now that I mean, I wouldn't say I'm getting older, but 27 now, maybe as a goalkeeper, maybe 10 more years, not too bad. Play till I'm 37, 38, something like that. But if I wasn't a goalkeeper, what would I do after the game? Or if I wasn't a goalkeeper? Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I really like clothing. I like shopping and all that. I like making my own clothes. Every time I buy clothes, I always adjust it. So I think I'd maybe own my own clothing company and make my own clothes, and maybe a fashion designer. I know it's a little strange, but that's kind of what I'm into. So maybe that.
That's pretty cool. Like Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton, Gucci stuff, you know?
Yeah, yeah, all that flashy stuff you see all those big guys wearing.
Um, do you ever regret making those sacrifices to become a pro?
Not at all. I This profession that I have, every morning when I wake up and you get to go into the facility, and on the game day you walk into the stadium, it's it blows you away every single time. Like I never get used to it. Like I'm so grateful for to be able to do this for a living. So yeah, I don't. I'm incredibly happy and incredibly grateful, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. I love this. I love the game.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
So I'm still young and I'm trying to get to the next level, but once you get to college or to high school, do you ever regret making the sacrifices? Like, I'm not sure. Do you ever regret making sacrifices at that young teenage?
I think so. Obviously, when you want to be a professional soccer player and you want to be, one of the best goalkeepers you can be, along the way you're gonna miss out on a lot of things. So when you're in high school and maybe all your friends are going to a party or they're going away for the weekend and a lot of things, but you have training or you have a tournament, you miss out on a lot of things. And you know, even at the college level, when I was away, playing in college, you miss out on Thanksgiving, you miss out on all the birthdays, you miss out on a lot of holidays. It's a lot. I mean, even in the professional level, it's you miss out on a lot of things, and it's just a sacrifice you have to make for the game. And I think it's worth it because when you're younger, although your friends maybe going to the parties and having fun, and you're at training and you're going to practice and missing out on these things. I think in the short term you may feel upset because you're not having as much fun theoretically as your friends, but I think in the long run you'll have much more fun because you're on your team, you're achieving things, you're developing as a person, as a goalkeeper, as a soccer player, and you're going to eventually achieve your goals because all those parties that I missed maybe in high school that I didn't get to go to, it's all I would miss 100 more just to be in this position that I am to play, professionally for an MLS club. So I think it's well worth it as long as you love the game and this is what you want to do. I mean, there's going to be a lot of sacrifices along the way that are going to be worth making.
All right, thanks. That's good advice. I'll remember that when I get to the next level.
And I'm sure you will. You definitely will.
What have you done on the field and off the field that you're most proud of?
I think on the field, I'm most proud of making it to the MLS. Like I said, I started off on a weird path, not playing for the greatest team, going to a smaller college, then going into the USL. So I think making it to the MLS and winning two championships in the USL and then making the jump to the MLS was one of the most rewarding feelings ever. This going through that grind and finally at the end of it being rewarded with an MLS contract. So I think that for me definitely one of the greatest moments on the pitch. And then off the pitch, I think actually I got married this early this year in January. I think off the pitch that's one of my greatest accomplishments because I think through all of this, my wife now has really helped me along the way, and it was just amazing celebration for me and to have all my teammates along the years be there. So it's like a big coming together moment. Just yeah, I think getting married this year was probably my greatest accomplishment. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. What goalies or soccer players inspired you to want to be a professional?
My number one growing up, like my idol was Iker Casillas. That was my idol. I used to watch his videos all the time. He played for Real Madrid, and that was my favorite team. And yeah, I idolized them growing up. And then obviously he doesn't play anymore. So I think I moved on to David De Gea, which is, someone who I love their style of play. Very, acrobatic, makes, great shot stopping. That's something I like to build my game off of. But I think there's a lot of people that I take small pieces from. Like, so in terms of shot stopping, I love David De Gea. But when it comes to playing with the feet, I love Ederson, who's at Man City. Great keeper with his feet. Maybe dominating the box. You'd want to watch Manuel Neuer, because he's such a big presence and just, yeah, incredible. So I think you look around and you want to take pieces from everyone. So there's a lot of guys in the game at the highest level that influence me, and yeah, I would say that.
Awesome. I feel like my playing style is very much like David De Gea. I watch him a lot. I watch a bunch of his save videos. I feel like my style of playing is a lot like
Hmm.
his.
Yeah, he's an awesome goalie to look at, because he's just, his instincts and his reactions are, amazing. When he's at the top of his game and he's in form, I think, he's the best keeper. He can be the best keeper. I think obviously not Man United, not in greatest form, and he hasn't been the best, but I think when he's at the top of his game, he's unmatched. So David De Gea for sure. I love that guy.
They recently they've done pretty good. They won their last two games. They won today 4-1.
Yeah, they're making the turnaround. They have to, or else the fans are going to be on them.
Yeah, and same for Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer is a beast goalkeeper. I mean, but he's got a great team too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Lewandowski. He's got so many great players. He's got a
Hmm.
great defense. He's got a great offense. I mean, when they're on fire, they beat teams 8-2. We're not going to
Hmm.
talk about that Barcelona game.
Yeah, they're, I mean, one of the best teams in the world, like, for sure. And I think that helps as well. It gives the keeper a lot of confidence. I think sometimes that's important, going into a good team and having a good defense in front of you. Like, it's like collectively helps everyone's morale and makes everyone feel more comfortable on the pitch when everyone's so successful. So from front to back, from the keeper to the striker, like with Lewandowski to Neuer, and everyone in between, when you're performing at that level, I think everyone just goes up a notch. So yeah, that's one way why he's so successful too.
Yeah, because when Manuel Neuer gets pumped, his rest of his team gets pumped, and they get
Exactly.
so energetic, and they have like this whole power, and they go and score like 4 goals in like 9 minutes.
Yeah, they just dominate. They just build off each other's energy and just dominate the game.
Yep. What are your favorite gloves to wear in net and why?
Favorite gloves to wear in net would have to be my Aviatas. They're yeah, they've been amazing for me. They've been my gloves for the past 3 years. They won me some USL championships. They've helped me out in the MLS. So they're my they're my go-tos. Aviata.
Cool.
Hmm.
I've heard some good things about Aviata gloves.
Yeah, there's a few keepers in the MLS that are wearing Aviata USL as well. So yeah, they're great gloves, amazing.
I interviewed Amanda Dennis. She wears Aviata gloves.
Yeah, really awesome. Yeah, now they're good gloves.
Cool. Um, is there a save that you've made in net that really sticks out in your mind?
Um, Probably in the USL conference finals. It was at was it 2017. It was we had a penalty shootout, and I'd say I made a save. I like tipped it onto the cross. I dove and tipped it onto the crossbar, and like it bounced down, and then I just caught it right before the line, and then like I looked at the referee to make sure everything was good. She gave me the okay, and then I was like, yeah, let's go. Next penalty, we score, and then we make it to the finals. And that was our first final. So yeah, that save was yeah, very, yeah. I'll remember that save forever. And yeah, the moment after the game when we won, the conference championship, is that night in general is just unforgettable for me.
Awesome. So you said you played for the USL. What team
Hmm.
did you play for in the USL?
Louisville City. Yeah,
Cool.
they've been a really successful team in the USL. I think they've every single year they've made it to the conference finals, and they've made three or four. They've made four USL championships. They've won two and lost two, but they've yeah, no. They've made three. They've made three. But yeah, very successful team over the years. They've produced a lot of good players, a lot of good pros. So yeah, you should check them out. Great team.
All right, I'll check them out after this
Hmm.
interview.
Hmm.
What advice would you give a young goalkeeper like me that wants to play at the professional level?
I think, and you're a great example of it. Talking to a lot of keepers and getting to know the game. I think exactly that. I think you need to absolutely love the game, and you need to dedicate your life to it. You have to work really hard. You have to make a lot of sacrifices along the way. And I think as long as you have an incredible passion for it, you're going to make it. You're going to find a way to make it because that's what you want to do at the end of the day. You'll make the sacrifices. You'll do what you have to do to get it as long as you really really want it. And yeah, that's what I would say. I think love for the game, hard work, passion, and you're going to get there for sure.
Thanks. That's the best advice I've heard. Well, not best advice, but that's some really good advice.
Really good advice. Yeah.
Thanks. Greg, do you have any questions for me?
um. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on this. I enjoyed speaking with you. My question to you is, I have a few questions actually. First of all, who's your favorite team in MLS? I know you're wearing the Loons jersey. You don't need to. I don't want you to be biased or anything, but favorite team in MLS right now. Favorite team and favorite keeper.
Um, my favorite team is probably New England Revolution,
Okay. I have a few
and
friends on there.
my favorite keeper is Matt Turner and Andre Blake.
Head Turner, yeah. I know Matt Turner actually. I played Fortnite with him a couple times. Good lad. Honestly, that's if we were looking at like for the awards, I know that Andre Blake had won it, but I was really impressed with Matt Turner this year. I think he was my MLS goalkeeper of the year. That was my choice. But Andre Blake again, another amazing keeper. You can't compare the two. Like they're both amazing. You can't separate them. But yeah, Matt Turner, very good year, and yeah, he's one of my favorite keepers in the league as well. So good choice.
Thanks.
Hmm.
Do you have any other questions?
Um, I feel like I can go all day and ask you questions just
Ask
because
them
I
all.
think we
Ask
both
them all.
I think we both just love the game. If her favorite keeper at the professional level, like the like not MLS, like Premier
Premier
League
League.
or
Okay.
top five leagues, yeah, like the top of the top.
Um, I watch a lot of MLS. I haven't watched Premier League in a while. The last game I probably watched was the Champions League finals with
Hmm.
Bayern Munich and PSG.
Hmm.
So my favorite keeper would overseas would probably be either Manuel Neuer or De Gea.
Yeah, those are yeah two great choices. I mean, Manuel Neuer is just a beast, and David Hay is actually my favorite. So yeah, good choice there.
Oh, and Zach Steffen. I mean, he's a USA goalie, but he plays over
Hmm.
at Man City, and he started
Hmm.
a lot of their games this season.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's played some games, so it's very. See, that's another thing for a lot of Americans growing up and that are want to become goalkeepers is you look at an example like Zach Steffen, playing in the MLS. He actually played a few games in the USL on loan while he was in when he came back to Columbus. But you just look at his growth. Playing in the college game and then goes MLS and just crushes it and does so well there. And now look, he's playing at one of the best teams in the world. Like so that's how the sky's the limit. Like anything is possible. I think you see the pattern now. Like you see a guy like Zach Steffen and like even all the outfield players. Like you have Weston McKennie and Gio Reyna and Pulisic playing at the top teams in the world. So it's exciting to see the youth in the U.S. like grow up and go to these big teams and become like some of the best soccer players on the planet. So it's really exciting, and especially for you growing up and having that goal and seeing these kids do it. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah,
Zach Steffen's a huge idol for me because I'm hoping to get to the professional level one day, but he's going all the way over to England and Man City, which is
yeah.
it's a huge inspiration for me as a young goalkeeper, and it's probably an inspiration for some of these MLS players who might still
Hmm.
want to go overseas.
100%. No, it's an inspiration for all of us to see, because he was in the MLS like a couple of years ago. It's very real for all the MLS keepers that want to make the jump. I mean, you have a good year and you get some good stats and play well and scouts watch you, and then who knows, now you're off to Man City playing playing in big matches. That's how it works. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's really exciting. It's an inspiration for all the goalkeepers for sure.
definitely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Greg, for coming on 10 Questions with a Pro. Thank you for taking time to talk with me and just for supporting Keeper for a Cure. Remember to check out the show and all our other shows on our YouTube channel. Just search Keeper for a Cure. We also have a podcast on Spotify and iTunes. Just search Keeper for a Cure and remember to subscribe and like. Please visit www.keeperforacure.com to learn more about my Keeper for a Cure campaign, what we are doing. I'm Brady Krysiewicz, and tonight's episode features Greg Ranjitsingh.
Don't worry, you're not the first one. Not the first one to mess that one up.
Thank you for tuning in to 10 Questions with the Pro.
Thank you, Brady. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.